systematic remembrance.
Such systematic remembrance.
Sandhyamanayam.
Sandhyamanayam.
And thus being fixed in the habit of.
And thus being fixed in the habit of.
Yoginaha.
Yoginaha.
The mystics.
The mystics.
Bhakti lakshanaha.
Bhakti lakshanaha.
Being practiced to the devotional system.
Being practiced to the devotional system.
Ashu.
Ashu.
Very soon.
Very soon.
Sampadyate.
Sampadyate.
Attains success.
Attains success.
Yogaha.
Yogaha.
Connection by devotional service.
Connection by devotional service.
Ashrayam.
Ashrayam.
Under the shelter of.
Under the shelter of.
Bhadram.
Bhadram.
The all good.
The all good.
Ikshataha.
Ikshataha.
Which seeing that.
Which seeing that.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O King, by this system of remembrance and being fixed in the habit of seeing the all-good personal conception of the Lord, one can very soon attain devotional service to the Lord under His direct shelter. Purport. Success of mystic performances is achieved only by the help of the devotional attitude. Pantheism, or the system of feeling the presence of the Almighty everywhere, is a sort of training of the mind to become accustomed to the devotional conception. And it is this devotional attitude of the mystic that makes possible the successful termination of such mystic attempts. One is not, however, elevated to such a successful status without the tinge of mixture in devotional service. The devotional atmosphere created by pantheistic vision develops into devotional service in later days, and that is the only benefit for the impersonalist. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5 that the impersonal way of self-realization is more troublesome because it reaches the goal in an indirect way, although the impersonalist also becomes obsessed with the personal feature of the Lord after a long time. Om Ajnanatamannasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nibishesha Shunyavai Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. O King, by this system of remembrance and by being fixed in the habit of seeing the all-good personal conception of the Lord, one can very soon attain devotional service to the Lord under His direct shelter. Now, overview. I want to have some portion of time for the verse as Prabhupada has given us today. And then today's disappearance of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, I believe. Then I'll just read a little bit of his biography and we can feel some inspiration. I listened mainly to His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj in this regard for this particular text. And one word that Prabhupada used in the purport is pantheism. Etymologically, it's Greek, and it's pan, P-A-N, all or everything, and theos, God, and ism means belief or doctrine. And essentially, it's a way of gradually advancing on the path of personalism. Prabhupada also related in this regard the Buddhist and the Mayavadi philosophy of Tattvamasi, that you are that. Or Aham Brahmasmi taken out of context. then I am Brahman also, only. And in this regard, specifically, His Grace Radhika Raman Prabhu, some time ago, he gave here at ISV, he gave a 3-part seminar about Mayavadi philosophy and how to refute it over the course of 2 days. And it was, for me, very enlightening. And anyone can refer to that if you want further explanation. I'll just touch on the points. And what Radhika Raman Prabhu said at the beginning, he said, if you come, you have to come for all 3 sessions, because if you only come for 2, you'll turn Mayavadi. And I don't want to be responsible for that, because he gave such compelling evidence about Mayavadi. But then the 3rd seminar was all personalism. And so he said, you make sure you come to all 3 sessions. And he said, okay. I said, okay. But that can be found on YouTube easily under Mayavadi and How to Refute It, Radhika Raman Prabhu. A lot of nectar there. I'll just pull a few points from what he gave. Welcome, Jesh. Nice to see you here.
It's the allure of Mayavad.
The allure of Mayavad, yeah, and how to refute it. And he basically, Radhika Raman Prabhu, gave how all the waters of the river, they eventually converge and go into the ocean. And Tattvamasi, you are that. Or just as a bird that's green goes into the green bush, Tattvamasi, you are that. Or just as a pot that holds air, empty space, if it breaks and it becomes one with all the vastness of the outside air, Tattvamasi, you are that. And in this way, it's understandable how one can accept that as the Siddhanta. That makes sense, actually. Which it does. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. That yes, you are one with the Lord, but you're also simultaneously different. And how is that possible? If one accepts Achintya only, inconceivable potency. Because what is seemingly contradictory in the Lord makes perfect sense. Because of this principle of power beyond our mental comprehension, beyond time and space, or the limited thought of the human entity. And I'll make it practical. When Grace Tata Prabhu and I were at UC Santa Cruz, just before Bhakti Jesh came, there was one student, and she came up. I think it seems she was inspired by the sign of Ask a Monk. And she came up asking a lot of questions about how does one accept truth, and how do you know it is truth? And His Grace Vaisheshika Maharaj has covered this a while back. He says, in any field of knowledge, one must accept what's called an axiomatic truth, because one will go into what's called infinite regression. For example, there's a weight scale, right, in our room now. Very happy to say that our room now. It means Vishal Prabhu's room and myself, our room. Now, if one steps on the scale and suppose it's reading kilos, 63 kilos, well, one may say, is this accurate? What is the calibration quality of this particular scale? Okay, well, that's valid. Let's go to the manufacturer and ask who's specifically responsible for this particular scale, and ask that person, okay, is this calibrated? And they say, mate, yes. And you say, well, how do I know it's calibrated? What did you use to calibrate this particular scale? And he said, well, I use this machine, or perhaps someone else used the machine. And okay, well, let's go to that machine, and that in this way one will never come to an end. So similarly, I was trying to explain to this student, a young girl, that one must accept an axiomatic truth in any field. Otherwise, they go like this, circle like dog trying to catch their tail. So similarly, if one wants to experience the personal aspect of Krishna, then one, at least in theory, has to accept at the time that there is such a person. And that's what Prabhupada said. Now, coming back to the text and what His Holiness Bhakti Raga Maharaj said, he highlighted the purport that the devotional attitude or the devotional service, which is synonymous in this context, it gives the impersonalist an opportunity or a chance to become personal. And the way he related was Shukadev Goswami himself, who can say is one of the foremost personalists. Yet he was in the womb and didn't want to come out. And then when he did, he ran away. And he was impersonal at them. But what did Vedavyas, his father, do? He started uttering verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam about Krishna directly. And because of that, Krishna is the all-attractive. Shukadeva Goswami was reminded of Krishna's personal feature, and then came back and spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. And he gave other examples, such as the Kumaras and so forth. But just for the sake of time, this is it. And His Holiness Bhakti Raga Maharaj said that it's provided that one is sincere. Sincere. One cannot be insincere and develop a devotional attitude. And Krishna himself gives, in response to Arjuna, all about impersonalism in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, entitled Bhakti Yoga, or devotional service. I'll mainly read the text and then highlight a few things. Arjuna inquired, says text 1, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? To Krishna replies, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Then he speaks 3rd through 4th text. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to every one, such persons engage in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. It means after a period of time. Wherein here in this verse, as well as other places, the word ashu is used. Very soon. So not after sometimes. Here one can understand the swiftness of Krishna when one is open and eager for understanding his personal aspect. And I want to relate a verse and then come back to the Bhagavad Gita. One 710 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'll come back to this chapter 1, 2. Srimad Bhagavatam 1, 710. Translation: all different varieties of Atmaramas, those who take pleasure in Atma, or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls. And one thing in the purport here, it's a lengthy one, that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained this Atmarama Shloka very vividly before his chief devotee, Srila Sanatana Goswami. And here he points out 11 factors in that shloka, namely 1, Atmarama, 2, Munayaha, 3, Nigranta, 4, Abhi, 5, Cha, 6, Urukrama, 7, Kurvanti, 8, Ahetukim, 9, Bhaktim, 10, Itam Bhuta Ganaha, and 11, Harihi. And then in the purport, Prabhupada expounds on the sub meanings of these principal words. Now, how can that be such a depth in one word, one verse about impersonalism? Not possible. You just say nirguna, no qualities. But we say saguna, there is qualities. And the way that's given in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1, 2, 11, learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And the way my Guru Maharaj related this realization of Krishna is that if people are at a subway station and they see a train and three different people, and one just looks at the train from a long distance away, sees lights, and that's it, goes away. That's what they'll understand about the train. What did you see? I saw lights only. Okay, this is considered Brahman. Then a second person goes and stays a little bit longer and actually sees the train itself and then leaves. Yes, then they'll say, I saw this train. This is the length and the size, etc. It's Paramatma. And the third person stays and sees that people get off the train and looks inside and sees all the different arrangements, compartments, and so forth. If you've gone through an interstate train, and especially overnight in India, it's quite a ride. If you haven't done it yet, I did it from Bengal to Puri. Chai, 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 you'll hear that all night. And then that third person will see all this detail. And this is Bhagavan realization. In this way, there are stages. And if one stays long enough, then one will, and has the right attitude, in consideration of the right person, means a teacher, then one will get perfect knowledge. And Bhakti Raghav Maharaj, he related this example that Prabhupada gave about the teacher and disciple relationship. And he gave this, that just as if two parents, mother and father, if they're potent, then the child is guaranteed. However, sometimes either the father is impotent and or the mother is impotent, and therefore there is no birth, no progeny. Similarly, the teacher must be bona fide and the student must be bona fide. The teacher with knowledge, a clear siddhanta, and the student with inquisitiveness and humility, 3 factors. And the third one, service-oriented to the spiritual master. And this creates a perfect situation for a transference of knowledge. And it states elsewhere by Prabhupada that when the disciple, the student, is meek, humble, and eager for service, then the spiritual master, naturally being touched in his heart, will bestow blessings upon that disciple. And that the disciple will make advancement swiftly. And this is how one advances on the path of Krishna consciousness. Coming back to the text 12.5 that Prabhupada directs us to, 12.5 states, for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. Do come with trouble, it states here. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. And Prabhupada gives the example of these groups of transcendentalists, the Gyanis, and so forth. Five more minutes and then I'll give a little bit of for Srinath Vrindavan Dastavar. His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Maharaj gave that there are 5 Ds of any educational institution. And he said he would only give 3 because he only had limited time for that video. But he only actually gave 2. He said, I'll leave you in suspense. He gave two. One is definition and two is disposition. One definition, he said, one must have sambandha gyan, knowledge of one's relationship with Krishna, specifically what is matter and what is spirit. And if we go to it, most institutions will see that matter is emphasized. I know, for example, at Harvard University, they have the School of Divinity because His Holiness Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj is there. Swami Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj. However, the majority are just really teaching how to get a well-paying job, a career, to eventually just die. That's really what it's about. If we analyze it minutely, what else is there? If the material and the spiritual knowledge is there not simultaneously, as mentioned in Sri Ishopanishad, then one type of result will be derived and another type of result will be derived from such practice. One leads to knowledge, immortal blessings, or immortal life, and one leads to nescience, means path of birth, death, old age, and disease. And therefore, His Holiness Bhakti Ragamala gave definition as the first deal. One must know matter, one must know spirit, and their interactions. Yanta Rudhani Maya, that the soul is sitting on the seat of material energy or this physical body. And then two, he said disposition. He specifically related this in regards again to the teacher-student, that the student must have a correct or proper mental disposition in regards to the subject matter and the teacher himself. And he did Bhakti Raghav Maharaj 4.34 of the Bhagavad Gita. And reference one thing Maharaj said. He said, when one is devoid of real intelligence, then he said, AI comes into play. Artificial intelligence. He said, Bhakti Yoga is all about RI, real intelligence. Just like sometimes we fill out this things online and there's a little square box that says you have to click it. It's verifying that you're a human. Like that. And this is real knowledge. Now I'll just read a few things about Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur being his disappearance day. Mostly just his biography. You may take some opportunity to hear about such a transcendental personality. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, known eternally as the Vyas of Chaitanya Lila. He is the holy author who gave the world the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. In the Gauda Ganadesh Deepika, it is revealed that Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is the direct incarnation of Srila Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva, author of the Srimad Bhagavatam compiler. He is the son of Narayani Devi. In the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving personal remnants to Sri Narayana Devi. That is his mother, is Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's mother. He took birth in the village of Mahamagachi in Modradrimyadvi. Probably as Kristada Prabhu knows this area, being residing over there nearby. The niece of Srivas Pandit was Srimati Narayani, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's mother. At the age of 4, Narayani Devi was personally called forward by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to receive his remnants. And it's stated that just shortly after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyasis, when Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur was manifested here in this material world. The gift of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, his magnum opus, originally titled Chaitanya Mangal and later renamed Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. it states that Lord Nityananda was his Guru Maharaj, and that was his last initiated disciple, was Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. And it states here that one must go through the mercy or gain the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu before one approaches Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It also states that Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur had unwavering faith and surrender to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And then we can relate that to the verse of 434 of Bhagavad Gita, that one must render meek service to the spiritual master, and thus heartfelt blessings go to such a personality. There's more, of course, on Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, but just for the sake of time, I'll open it up after a summary and a conclusion. The verse was, "O King, by this system of remembrance, and by being fixed in the habit of seeing the all-good personal conception of the Lord, one can very soon attain devotional service to the Lord under his direct shelter." And then pantheism, as highlighted by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, means to see everything as God. It's a type of belief or doctrine. However, from the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying aham and Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, one can understand that Krishna is speaking personally. And in other literatures, means religious literatures, for example, take the Bible, because it's very popular nowadays. Some people take Lord Christ saying, "Before Abraham was I am," or "I am the way, the truth, and the life," and "Before was the Word, and the Word was God." These things, they're actually contextual and left for what's called a hermeneutics. They're left for interpretation according to whoever's reading. However, Krishna is saying aham and Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Where else is it saying that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Jesus Christ says, "I am the Son of God." Prophet Muhammad says, "I'm the servant of God," and Krishna says directly that I am God. That's the difference. And it is not to be mistaken for false pride because Krishna is God. He's just stating a fact. So in this way, personalism is the Siddhanta, it's the clear conclusion of any religious endeavor. And Prabhupada purports in the verse that it's an indirect way if one takes to the path of impersonalism. And he also likened it to, it's the end of one's devotional career if one takes to this type of impersonalism. And then I mentioned a little bit about his Grace Radhika Raman Prabhu when he gave a 3-part seminar here at ISV about the allurement of Mayavadi and how to refute it. And he mentioned, please stay for all 3 parts, otherwise the first 2 will allure you, and I'll be blamed for this. Please stay. Tat Twamasi is the signature aphorism that Radhika Raman Prabhu highlighted. All the waters converge and go into the ocean. Tat Twamasi, you are that. Bird goes into the green bush or tree, you are that. Air from within the pot merges with the totality of air, you are that. Tat Twamasi. And the Srimad Bhagavatam states that Brahman, Paramatma, and then Bhagavan is the ultimate realization. And then one seeing the train from afar, lights, Brahman, closer train, Paramatma, up close inside the train, all the passengers and compartments. This is personal or Bhagavan realization. A devotional attitude creates the opportunity for one to go from impersonalism to personalism. And Shukadev Goswami was highlighted by his Holiness Bhakti Raga Maharaj that he escaped from the womb, but Vyasadeva uttered some Srimad Bhagavatam verses about personalism in relation to Krishna, and that brought him back. 2 Ds of 5 of any educational system. 1 definition, know what is knowledge, what is spirit, and their interactionals or their interrelationship. 2 disposition, have a proper mindset, in other words, about knowledge and the authorities upon the subject matter. And the example was given about 2 potent parents. They come together, undoubtedly a child will be birthed, or 2 or 3, whatever the situation is. And then Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, and he's a very empowered personality, and it's his disappearance today. Thank you. This is it. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Live to be corrected. Any questions, reflections? You're welcome to share now. Please be Jai Prabhu, it's Grace Tada Prabhu. Piyush, Sachit Lal Prabhu, Bhakta Sattva, thank you for joining. You're welcome to share if you have anything online also.
Thank you very much for your Mayavadi Guru. I think I didn't watch all of them fully yet, so that's concerning. But I'll watch them. Your emphasis on how pantheism is only one part of the story, and then you drew the example of the train was very well done. So you're saying how the Brahman, Paramatma, the Bhagavan, features of the Lord, how they are a certain hierarchy, and how all of the information is not available in all the literatures, and gave the anecdote where you and Dana Prabhu were distributing books to some person and they had many such questions on that topic. So it's enlivening to hear that, and the emphasis on that. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and then practically speaking, one remains on the mental sphere of constant theory. Never comes to, if one does not experiment, then they'll constantly be on the outside looking in. So the answer to that is just at face value for the time being, whatever, this is what Prabhupada said, whatever, you're a very learned man. For the time being, put aside all your learning and just accept this right now. And then that is the devotional attitude. Then one has the opportunity. Otherwise, they're mental, intellectual, trying to make these adjustments. And the example that Prabhupada gives was the Dr. Frog, right? Dr. Frog is in the well. It's small, full of water. And someone comes from the outside and says, you have to see the ocean. And says, well, what's the frog? Says, well, how big is the ocean? 2 feet? He says, no, much bigger than that. 3 feet. And the frog like this goes on speculating, puffs up so big and then explodes and dies. And similarly, one just need to accept that at least in theory, there's a personal feature, personal person, supreme, and that's where we are all coming from. Janmadasya Yataha. Thank you, Vishal Prabhu, for that. About 1 minute. Anyone wants to add anything? Good online?
Prabhu last time, I think we had a class today with the Prabhu. He was giving a class on the Uttar Pradesh. And that last time is from that book. So I think I'll rewatch that one. Thank you for the reminder.
Thank you. Vanshakapatri Vishtaki Prasingyu Eva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.